Hey guys, this is Mel, and I am back to talk about Legacies, episode 401, titled You Have to Pick One This Time, which premiered Thursday, October 14th, 2021 on the CW. Guys, it's been a while. How are you doing? I'm just so excited to just start talking about this episode. So, huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. I'm recording roughly an hour after the episode has aired for me, so let's get right into it. But yeah, so what happened in this episode? So first off, the episode quote of "You have to pick one this time" was said by Finch to Josie in their last scene together in the episode. I think they were playing a Would You Rather game, and Josie picked both, and obviously the quote comes in saying, "Well, you got to pick one this time." So there's that. Timeline-wise, though, I believe this episode continues off from the events of 316. If not, then at least it's the next day after where we left off at 316. If you remember, we ended the season, a previous season, with the Super Squad capturing Malivore, who is currently possessing Landon's body, and he's being holed up in the school's gymnasium. So there's that. I believe it's the next day because he's still in the cage. But it seems like everyone's outfits have slightly differed, kind of, except for his. So there's that. Episode reminder of the fact that this is the season premiere, though I do know this was originally meant to count as episode 17 of season 3 before episodes got shifted around due to the pandemic, I believe. So I'm still not sure. Which now has me wondering if we're going to be dealing with the same thing that we dealt with in season 3, where like the first 4 episodes dealt with like the tail end of like what season 2 should have wrapped up as. So now are we dealing with that now with these first 4 episodes of season 4 kind of like tying things off for season 3 and then we go into season 4, or is it now written in a way that like no, what we're dealing with right now is the actual initial season 4 plan? So that's a question there. I really want to get back to it where it's just no episodes are like overflowing into the next due to like production reasons and pandemic reasons. But anyways, future creature though is we are dealing with Malivore, specifically in Landon's body. So there's that. But we do learn a little bit about Malivore. But with episode breakdowns or the storylines, I'm gonna put it into 2. I guess the first, there are multiple ones within it, but the first one's like deep in the darkness, so like within Malivore, and they have their own 2 separate storylines of finding Cleo and then distracting Malivore, aka mismatched memories. And then you have the second major storyline, which is outside of Malivore, which is I'm calling dating woes, kind of a thing, and it deals more with the twins. But with the first storyline, or the first major storyline of going deep within Malivore, we get the first one dealing with finding Cleo. Or I should go with first one being distracting Malivore, and that is Caleb using his vampirism to enter into Malivore's head, bringing Alaric along with them so they can go inside and try to find Cleo. But while doing so, they're hoping that Malivore would take the bait and try to distract him. So while that's happening, MG can use his vampirism and get into Malivore's head and bring Hope along with, so they can go into his deep subconscious to find Cleo without Malivore being aware of them inside. So while Alaric and Caleb are keeping Malivore distracted, he actually brings up the fact that their individual memories of the day they met, which was October 3rd at the homecoming game at Caleb's old high school, both of them remember it very differently, and he brings that to light, saying, revealing the truth. So Caleb believed that he only fed on one student before Alaric had revenged him, when actually he had killed many students. I'm assuming he killed many students because he was on a feeding frenzy, and Caleb was unaware of this, and Alaric revealed that he didn't. There was no point in telling Caleb about all that blood and death if he didn't remember it to begin with. And Caleb acknowledges later on that he wouldn't have been the person he is today if he did remember what had happened before he was ready to accept it, kind of a thing. So anyways, well, that's all dealing with that. And while they are dealing with Malivore in that sense, at one point when Caleb is about to give in to his hunger once again, the real Landon intervenes, and he's able to reunite with Alaric and Caleb and actually get a little bit of an update about what's been happening, how many fake Kims have been running around, how long he's been gone, and just what the situation is. Although telling them not to tell him too much, because whatever he knows, then Malivore knows, because he is still possessing his body. So there's that. So while all that's happening, we have a deeper dive into Malivore's subconscious, which is where Hope and MG are in trying to find Cleo, who is a prisoner within the darkness. They find her in her own little makeshift little paradise where she gets to be in her home village, be with her grandmother again, be with her sisters again, grown up now, and kind of spend a happy time from that. But Hope and MG crash that, hoping to find a way for Cleo to inspire them an idea to get her out of Malivore's clutches. But they get interrupted by Malivore, and he separates Hope and MG, and he puts them into another past memory of when MG killed Landon for the first time, and that is when they uncovered his Phoenix abilities. And then he gives Hope an ultimatum of whether or not, are you staying to save MG, or are you going to go off and save Landon, go find Landon. Hope eventually picks MG, even though everybody believed that she would pretty much prioritize Landon every which way there was, and Malivore does not like that. So he ends up, before he can do anything about it though, all 4 people inside Malivore's mind get thrown out due to a spell that Josie and Lizzie end up doing, which we'll talk about in a little bit later. But Cleo now has a resolve of having friends who are willing to rescue her, and she's now fighting Malivore, ready to fight him more than just staying back and living in the peace of it, because it comes with a price, right? So before we dive into a little bit more of what Cleo ends up doing, the second storyline with the dating woes deals with on the outside, while Hope, MG, Caleb, and Alaric are inside Malivore's mind. Lizzie and Josie are on kind of like on sentry duty, and to make sure that Malivore doesn't wake up prematurely or that nothing amiss happens. But in doing so, Josie kind of gets a surprise visit from Finch, who comes bearing treats and such, because originally their bowling date was going to be canceled. So instead, she decided to bring the date to them, and not only learn more about Josie, but also learn a little bit more about Lizzie, in hopes of compatibility quizzes and such like that. So we see Lizzie getting a little bit of jealous of seeing the budding romance that Josie's having. We get Finch trying to prove that she wants things to be serious with Josie and not just be like a fling of sorts, which gets Josie later on to open up about the merge, since Finch asked around and found out that she was actually Josie was part of the Gemini Coven. So we have that there. And Lizzie later on opens up to Hope about why she's been negative about her the Handon relationship and the new Josie Finch relationship as well. And it's because she just wants a love of her own that she seems to witness everybody else having but herself, kind of a thing. So there's that. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But the last scene of the episode is Cleo kind of standing up to Malivore and revealing that she has inspired somebody and it's not him, and that we see that how she was able to inspire Hope. And then the last scene is us actually seeing Hope getting that inspired moment in her dream, and she has a new plan as she wakes up. So there's that. So we'll wait and see next week what that plan entails. But let's move on to characters. I'm going to change up a little bit just for today, because I'm going to do characters and relationships, because a lot of things that were revealed in this episode did pertain to the main storylines, essentially. So for characters, we did touch up on a little bit about the friendship between Hope and MG. This one, MG made a point of saying that they're stronger after their mission together. Hope proved that she's able to keep her word and that she's able to prioritize the mission instead of just kind of like kicking everything in the bucket if it meant saving Landon. So they definitely proved themselves to be getting closer, this friendship, which seems to revitalize the status that is the Super Squad, because as MG put it, he believes Malivore was trying to bring a wedge between them, between him and Hope, as well as between Alaric and Caleb, with revealing the truth of what happened the day they met. Because if they're all separated, they're weaker. And same with Hope. He wants to isolate them. And he compared it to Malivore being a bully. So now that their bond is stronger than ever, they're one step closer of being a united front against Malivore. So that's something there. So like I said, while that was happening, we get Alaric and Caleb come to an understanding, not only with the day that they met and how things really happened, but also the understanding of the fact that they lied to Hope about them finding the real Landon within Malivore's subconscious. Instead, they said they hadn't, and Caleb now understands why Alaric has kept secrets in the past about them, because sometimes people are not ready to hear the truth, and it's only until they're ready that he now has to navigate when that time is. So now Caleb and Alaric are on the same page when it comes to keeping Landon's promise and his existence in Malivore's subconscious a secret from Hope until she's ready to hear that that is what they found. Hopefully it doesn't bite them in the butt, but they're on a united front for that. And then, speaking of that, though, with Hope and Landon, we see more of their relationship on the back burner. We do know that Hope is still fighting to get him back, and for Landon, we see them both willing to sacrifice themselves to save the other one. So for Hope, we see that she is willing to become the Tribrid if it means defeating Malivore, which would mean saving Landon. But then we've revealed in this episode that Landon told Alaric and Caleb that if he is no longer the vessel for Malivore, then that means Hope would never have to be the Tribrid. And he doesn't want Hope to become the Tribrid, so he's willing to give up his own body. So pretty much killing himself in order to prevent that fate for her. So again, both willing to sacrifice themselves to save the other, kind of a thing. So there's that. With relationships for Cleo and the Super Squad, we do have her knowing now that she has friends who fighting to rescue her. It's not like she just has to rely on solely herself anymore. So she does have new faith in the fact that she has people trying to get back to her, kind of things, and that is due to her visit from Hope and MG. So there's that. Josie and Finch, we do have them finding that they're a lot more compatible with their little compatibility quizzes. We also find that Finch is wanting to learn more about Josie, but every new thing that comes, Josie pulls away, but she's aware of this, and she wants to change that because she wants to build something with Finch. And the first step she takes is actually telling her about the merge, and what it means, especially for twins. So there's that. And then we do see a little bit at the end, the friendship between Hope and Lizzie. At the beginning, it was very, very tense because of the fact that Lizzie, once again, voted against Hope, which didn't sit well with either of them. But then to have them both be a comfort to each other at the very end, Lizzie confiding in Hope about why she's been very nasty to Hope about her relationship with Landon, and also doing the same thing with Josie and her relationships, and admitting, like I mentioned before, that she just is jealous of the fact that she doesn't have a relationship with that type of love. We have the mention of the MG popping up again, and Lizzie doesn't think that ship is gonna sail at all. So we do see Hope actually being there for Lizzie and giving advice on going for it and not waiting for the right time, because it might never be the right time, kind of a thing. So there's that. But let's move on to tidbits very quickly. Jed and Ethan are absent in this episode, but they were mentioned. We do have Lizzie mentioning that she had to cancel her date with Ethan due to their mission with Malivore, and then we also have Finch mentioning Jed because he's the one who told her where to find Josie in the gymnasium, and that's where she brought all the date treats and stuff. So they're both mentioned. It's just not present. Another tidbit is the fact that whatever Landon knows, Malivore knows due to him possessing Landon's body. Therefore, we got Malivore making a whole bunch of movie references because of all the movies that Landon has read. So there's that. We also see Alaric and Caleb entering Malivore's mind, and Malivore being able to see their memories too. I do have a question about that later on. So there's that. And then we have Lizzie, like I mentioned before, telling Hope about how she made it clear to MG that it's kind of open season on her. Probably her meaning that she's open to the idea of them dating, but he hasn't budged or taken the hint just yet, which has her thinking that maybe she should just move on because that ship has already sailed for them, kind of a thing. So there's that, something a little bit that I already mentioned. But the most shocking moment in the episode, I really had to think about it because it wasn't like one of those like, OMG, like what the hell kind of things. It's more of like, well, what was something surprising that we got to learn? And I guess it was Caleb's body count, like the real body count. Like he's always been someone who prides himself on his control and having a handle on his vampirism, only to find out that that wasn't actually the case. He actually went on a feeding frenzy. That's probably what brought Alaric to finding him. But yeah, so there's that. But let's move on to top 3 favorite moments. I will say, just having more screen time between Hope and MG, it was great to see them communicating with each other. It was great to see them both just talking from like both sides, and how like MG was trying to get Hope to see kind of what everybody else feels like whenever she always picks a Landon over them, and how that makes them now worried that she's going to jeopardize the mission instead of be helpful, and then how their progress during the mission, and then eventually her picking MG and realizing that like she's built this reputation of herself where it has everyone or has her alienating herself from everybody because of this reputation of doing everything and sacrificing anyone to get Landon back, kind of a thing. So I do really like at the very end when they were talking that they bonded, and MG's positivity over the fact that like we may not have won against Malivore in the bigger sense, but they achieved it over this one obstacle. They're stronger now. They're more united, and I just really appreciate that positivity and the outlook he had for her, and it got her to see that as well too. So that was great. Another favorite I had was just Josie and Finch. It was great to see the young love between them, the flirting, the compatibility, and then Finch just offering herself up to help out in any way she can for Josie, being a siphon source, and then Josie wanting to take care of her, having some soup, and then like Finch just being honest about like what she hopes out of the relationship, and hoping that Josie can return the same truth to her as well, and then them really getting like down to the honest truth about where they want to go, and that led to them opening up about the merge. So it was just like, I really like where they're going, and it's just great to see that the positivity around that progression as well. So there's that. There is a part of me that wished that we could have seen them actually go on their bowling date, but I get why production-wise that wouldn't be the case. But yeah, there's that. I really like the idea though that Finch wanted to bring the date to her instead of just postponing it to another day. That was really sweet. But let's move on to another favorite, and that is essentially when Alaric and Caleb found the real Landon. It's just mainly Alaric's relief to find the real Landon Kirby after so many misfires, and then just like that hug, and then that emotional grin of like, we finally found you kind of thing. I thought that was so sweet. And then for them to be able to have a conversation with him afterwards and explain like how things are going to the extent that they can without tipping things off to Malivore. And then like Landon really having a grasp of the situation, despite it going down a very depressing path. It was just really great for the real Landon to be reconnected with people again. So there's that. So let's move on to top 3 peeved moments. I only have one peeve that I can think of, and that was the idea of Lizzie thinking that she has no chance with MG and that she just should just move on. I honestly think that he maybe just doesn't realize that that's what she's been hinting at all these times. Because I feel like in the past, it could have been very possible that MG could have gotten mixed signals from Lizzie, and he's just thinking that's what's happening lately, is just more mixed signals, when Lizzie just really actually wants to go for it for them. So I'm a little upset that she feels like she would have to, it's time for her to move on, because I really want MG and Lizzie to have a chance. He's always been there for her, and I really want to see her reciprocate that. Also, just because I really don't want her and Ethan together, only just from the fact that now he's just really just staying on the show just to be a love interest. Like, I really liked it when he knew the supernatural secret, and then like he was MG's friend, but then they took that all away, and now it seems like the only way to keep him on is to make him Lizzie's love interest, and it just seems like you could do better. You could do more with Ethan than that. And I kind of like, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they would connect and everything, because I think there's a lot of potential in Ethan for sure as a character, but I'm still a Mizzy fan, so it was a peeve that she kind of gave up on that. So there's that. But let's move on to random questions. I did have a few for this one. First one, it was actually mentioned in the episode, so I figured I might as well just ask it and answer it myself. But does Finch know about the Super Squad, or was the fact that Malivore is possessing Landon is what was being kept secret or top secret to her? It's actually both. So like Finch was aware of Super Squad, and she just was not aware that Malivore was on the school premises and currently possessing Landon. So that was kind of why there was the whole secret spy sense about the whole issue. Or why there's this mystery when Josie was trying to not cancel the date, but like postpone it poorly, kind of a thing. So there's that. Another question. If Landon wants his body to die in order to save Hope from being a tribrid, does that mean we may have Arya leaving the show? Kind of in the similar way that Peyton left when Raphael got sent to his own prison world at the start of season 3. Because now I'm just wondering. Also, that was another thing too, because technically Peyton's departure would have happened at the original end of season 2 if pandemic hadn't gotten in the way, so that had to be pushed to the beginning of season 3. So now I'm wondering if Landon wants his body dead, and we're technically in the what was supposed to be the ending of season 3 right now. Is this how Arya is meant to lead the show? I hope he's not leaving, because I do see a lot more with him, and it's been very also interesting just to see him play all these different iterations of Landon as well too. But like, I'm just wondering, Landon as a character, I mean, if they destroy his body, is that the end of Landon? I mean, that's what it seemed like. His consciousness would just be stuck in the void of Malivore from the sounds of it. Or could we do a body possession thing like they did in season 2 of the originals, when pretty much half of the Michelson family, and then like, I mean, Davina was able to bring Cole's original body back from the dead. So I mean, like, could that be something we see Landon going through? I don't know. I mean, like, I really don't want him to leave the show. I hope he's not leaving the show, but I don't know. For these next for the episodes that were meant to be part of season 3, I'm iffy about when it comes to like what if characters are leaving the show or not, because that would have been when they essentially would have been leaving at the end of the season. You know what I mean? I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but there is that. Next question though. We saw with Malivore possessing Landon that meant he had access to his memories, which makes sense. Now, when Alaric and Caleb entered Malivore's mind, did he have access to their memories as well, or did he only have access to the one memory they shared together, which is when they met on October 3rd? And I'm wondering, because if he's fully possessing Landon, I can understand why he would have full access to all of his memories and thoughts and stuff like that. But I don't think that same kind of access would have been allowed if someone else just temporarily entered into the mind. Like, it should only just be like a psychic connection of like your current thoughts kind of a thing. But then the fact that we got to see an old memory shared between the two of them had me questioning what was going on. And then also, I guess the same question applies to when Malivore was aware that Hope and MG were in his consciousness. Like, did he gain access to their memories of the night where Landon first unlocked his Phoenix powers, or did he take that memory from Landon's stockpile of memories? Like, which is it? Like, I'm still trying to understand to what extent Malivore's powers affected the 4 people going into his mind, when we already know that whatever Landon knows, Malivore knows, and vice versa. Wait, hold on. No. Is it vice versa? That's another question here. We know that Malivore possessing Landon means that Malivore knows everything that Landon knows. But is that connection the same for Landon? Would he know everything that Malivore knows? Because I feel like that would be very beneficial for the Super Squad. Like, for sure. Because then he could figure out what Landon wants with Cleo. Why he wants her specifically, why he wants her to inspire something out of him. Because I feel like he's searching for something, and I don't know if it's because he wants to find a way to make a perfect vessel, or if it's something else entirely. I don't know. So that's something there. And I guess the last question that I have is, how did Caleb become a vampire? I know he revealed it to Cleo that he became a vampire the last time he was vulnerable with a person, but we don't know to what circumstances. We don't know who the vampire was that turned him. And I kind of thought that if we were going to go back to like Caleb's past, to when like Alaric had met him, I kind of thought, like, it would be, like, we would also get to learn more about, like, how Caleb became a vampire and such, instead of just seeing the moment, like, the literal moment where, like, they encountered each other, and that's with Caleb going blood crazy on Alaric and him beating him after a few fights and stuff, right? So, like, I'm wondering, like, who turned Caleb, how long was he a vampire before Alaric found him, and such, like, what was going on. So that's the last question there. But let's move on to predictions very quickly. Based off the promo for 402, we do have a squad meeting, a huddle up from the looks of it. We do have Caleb worrying about Cleo getting attacked on the inside. We have the school being attacked on the outside from the looks of it. I probably will have to look again, but the synopsis though reads, Hope has to relinquish control and allow Josie and the Super Squad to enact a risky plan that could save Landon. Landon and Cleo meet in Malvor's darkness and learn more about one another. Meanwhile, Lizzie, Caleb, and Ethan volunteer together, and all does not go according to plan. Also wondering how they're going to get Ethan involved in this, because Lizzie, Caleb, and Ethan joining up together, I feel like that's a date gone wrong. Like, maybe Lizzie and Ethan were planning this event to be their date night, and then Caleb crashes it. I don't know. I'm also kind of surprised it's not MG then, if that's the case. Make it really awkward then. But, like, because, like, Ethan doesn't know about the supernatural now. He's at Mystic High still. He's not the same school as Finch. So it's just, like, I'm waiting for him to join the Salvatore boarding school. Like, I'm waiting for that kind of a thing. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Ethan is brought into it. I'm also really wanting his friendship with MG to come back. So there's that. Otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. What do you guys think of this premiere episode? What do you guys like about it? What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and opinions about what's going to happen in the next episode, as well as just in this season as a whole, because all the promotional stuff keeps saying Hope must die, and we all know that's alluding to her becoming a tribrid. If it was any other character, we would assume, like, oh, then we're going to be killed off and stuff, but for Hope, she does have a second chance at another life. And it's kind of teaming up to with the Vampire Diaries in season 4. That is kind of when Elena was a vampire. So it's like, maybe that's what we're going to be looking into. I'm so excited because I really want to know what Hope can do as a tribrid. I'm hoping to see more of that kind of a power, but we'll have to wait and see about that. But I really want to know what you guys think about that. So comment down below about all that. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page, link for that down below. I read about promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all the good stuff, all fun one place. Go check that out. I am behind. So sorry about that. I've been stuck in pre-production for my short film for the last few months, just trying to get things done. I'm filming next month, and I'm super excited about that, but that means like a whole bunch of different hats and stuff that I'm taking on, so it's just like, yeah. But hopefully, as things dies down, I will update Tumblr, also update WordPress. Link for that is down below. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress, a little more organized, a little more detailed, but still a work in progress as well. But otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I can't wait to experience season 4 with the rest of you guys. It's definitely one of the shows I definitely couldn't wait for. It's definitely one that I'm excited to do videos on for. So let's just see where this ride takes us. But until next week, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week wherever you are. Bye for now.